Hi kids, welcome to Freedom Church Kids. Dilly and I, we are so excited that you are here today, and we're so excited because today we start our new teaching theme, Heroes and Villains. Now when you think of a hero and villain, what do you think of? Yeah? Oh, well those are great answers. There are many movies and books to read about heroes and villains, and guess what? The Bible, it's no different. The Bible has many stories about heroes and villains. You know, a hero is a good guy or a gal, and a villain is about the bad guys and gals. Well, Dilly and I, we were reading a story today in the Bible that reminded me about a hero. Now, this isn't about just any hero. It's about a man that had the power of God on his life. Now, that's a hero that you don't want to mess with. So, are you ready to hear a story about a hero and a villain? Oh, well then, sit up straight and tall in your chair and get those listening ears on, because here we go. You can find this story in the book of 1 Kings chapter 18. Can you say that? 1 Kings chapter 18. Oh, great job. Now, the country of Israel has a king named Ahab. Now, this king was no hero. He was a villain. King Ahab led the Israelites away from God. Ahab was leading the Israelites to worship a false god named Baal. This did not make God happy at all. It made him very angry. So God caused a drought to come on the land. Now, the drought, this means that there was no rain. So the crops and everything was drying up and nothing was growing. It was hard for people and animals to find water. You know, Dilly, I'm so glad that we were not there at this time, because we all know that you have to have water to live. This drought, it lasted for 3 years. Can you say that? 3 years. During the 3rd year, God told Elijah, who was a prophet, to go and show himself to Ahab. And then God would bring the rain upon Israel. So Elijah, he was obedient, and he went to find Ahab. When he found him, Ahab tried to blame Elijah for the disaster that was happening in Israel. Can you believe that? But Elijah stood up brave and tall to him, and he told Ahab, I have not brought this disaster on Israel, but you and your father's household have by rejecting the commandments of the Lord and by following the Baals. Remember, the Baals were a false god. Also, remember, in our Bible, it tells us in the commandments to only follow God and only worship and love God, and do not worship false idols or gods. Elijah told Ahab to gather all Israel on Mount Carmel, together with the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Ashram, who ate at Jezebel's table. So everyone gathered together in Israel, and Elijah told them to bring 2 oxen. Say that with me, 2 oxen. Great job. Then he would let them choose 1 ox to cut up and to put on wood with no fire under it, and then he would prepare the other ox and lay it on the wood with no fire under it. Then Elijah said, then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God who answers by fire, he is God. So the Israelites, They started calling on Baal, but they had no answer. They were crying out. They were shouting Baal, but no answer. At noontime, Elijah started mocking the Israelites that were calling on Baal, but getting no answer. And Elijah was like, is he sleeping? Is he busy? What is he doing? Their ox had no fire. Nothing came down. No fire started on their ox. Then Elijah told all the people to come over to him, and they did. Then he had them pour 4 pitchers of water and then pour it on the burnt offering. Remember, that's the ox. And they poured it on the wood. They didn't do that just one time. They didn't do that just 2 times, but 3 times. 3 times they filled up 4 big pitchers of water and poured it on the ox, and then they poured it on the wood. After the ox and wood was good and wet, Elijah prayed, "Oh Lord, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, that I have done all these things at your word. Answer me, O Lord, answer me so that these people may know that you, O Lord, are God, that you have turned their hearts back to you." Then the fire of the Lord fell on and consumed the burnt offering, which is the ox and the wood. Oh, wow. What a story. The fire of God fell down. Because remember that we know that God's power in us makes us strong. And it makes all things possible. There is only one true God. Remember, there's only one true God. And he never sleeps. He never gets tired. He's always awake. He is always aware of what we need. And he is always on time. Just like he was on time for Elijah and he brought the fire down, he will be on time for you no matter what you go through. So this week, I want you to remember that God's power in you makes you a hero.